On August 15, 1977, a man in Ohio stared at a printed piece of paper. From the printer, a strip of numbers slowly emerged, coming from the depths of space. The astronomer's name was Jerry Eman, and his telescope was called Big Ear. He saw 6 characters in one line that shouldn't have been there. Eman set the tape aside, then came back to it again and checked it once more. All the checks confirmed the same thing. The signal was real and came from the sky. Then Eman grabbed a red pen, circled those symbols, and wrote one word in the margin. This word became the most famous in the search for extraterrestrial life. The word was simple and short, and today everyone who has read about the WOW signal knows it. The signal lasted exactly 72 seconds at the precise hydrogen frequency. He came from the constellation Sagittarius and was never repeated again.
No telescope in the world has yet found the source of this signal.
Today I'll show you 5 mysteries that humanity has heard and seen in the depths of space. Each next will be larger and more incomprehensible than the last in physical scale. And finally, I'll tell you about an anomaly measuring 1.8 billion light-years across. This anomaly should not exist in our universe according to all known laws of physics, yet it does exist, and cosmologists still cannot explain its emergence today. The Big Ear in Ohio was built specifically to listen for possible voices of reason from space. The telescope was still, and the starry sky slowly moved above it as the Earth rotated. This meant that any signal from one point lasted exactly 72 seconds. That's how long the narrow beam of the telescope kept the target in the sky. Eman found the record days after it was made, sifting through printouts by hand. He worked as a volunteer, reading long texts by eye without the aid of modern computers. The signal was narrowband and nearly 30 times stronger than the sky's background. The frequency was 1,420 megahertz, matching neutral hydrogen's emission line. Scientists expect to hear signals from alien civilizations on this frequency. Nature very rarely creates a narrowband signal of such clear and stable form. Natural cosmic phenomena usually rumble across a wide range of frequencies at once. The constellation Sagittarius points to the center of our Milky Way galaxy. Decades of observation and hundreds of attempts by various teams led nowhere. Same telescope, same point in the sky, same frequency, but always silence in response. In 2024, a hypothesis about a magnetar burst emerged. A magnetar is a neutron star with a magnetic field 1 trillion times stronger than Earth's. Perhaps its flash ignited a distant cloud of cold hydrogen like a brief beacon. But this hypothesis explains the frequency, not the unique intensity and shape of the signal. The authors of the study admit that we can't rule out an alien origin yet. When Eman heard about the new theory almost 50 years after his discovery, he reacted briefly. He said that he never thought the explanation could turn out to be so exotic. Even the author of the famous phrase isn't sure science found the right answer. The source of this signal has not been confirmed by any follow-up observation.
What would you write in the margins if you saw such strange space symbols?
Big Ear was demolished in the early 2000s, and a golf course now stands in its place. The antenna itself is gone, but Eman's recording remains a key relic in radio astronomy history. If the silence after WOW still haunts you, subscribe to the channel. Next are cases that are tens or hundreds of times larger in physical size. If the first signal came from a visible constellation, the next one came from a completely empty space. At night in Puerto Rico, the giant Arecibo dish, 305 meters wide, stared upwards in complete silence. Stars shone above her as rows of screens in the control room flashed with radio data. The Search for Intelligence program sent bits of this data to millions of computers worldwide. One of these computers, in the basement or in an office, detected an anomaly during one quiet night. This happened in February 2003, and at first, no one believed the discovery. In March, data showed a strange, narrow signal at the hydrogen frequency, raising an alarm. It was the same frequency as the WOW signal, 1,420 megahertz. The signal was detected 3 times, each lasting about a minute in a single area of the sky. And here's what doesn't fit the usual view of the world in this story. The signal came from between the constellations Pisces and Aries in the night sky. There are no known stars for 1,000 light-years in this direction. Only a dark void, a black chasm between two neighboring constellations of the zodiac. The signal was slightly off frequency, as if coming from a slowly moving source. Nature very rarely creates narrowband radio waves from places without stars and galaxies. Earthly interference is also ruled out, as the signal passed all standard checks. One explanation is that it could be a rare fluctuation of interstellar gas. In another case, it could be a weak, directed signal passing through a gravitational lens. But none of these hypotheses explained all the features of this strange signal. The source of this signal has not been found or explained by science. If the first two signals sounded once each, then the next type drives astronomers crazy with its quantity. In 2007, astronomer Duncan Lorimer was working not with new data, but with the archives of the Parkes telescope. The archive was vast. The right impulse wasn't sought for years after the recording. Lorimer was reviewing old observations, trying to find a different type of objects in the sky. And suddenly, amidst the noise, he detected a brief but extraordinarily powerful single pulse from deep space. It was a short radio burst, lasting just 5 milliseconds, monstrously energetic in its intensity. This opened up an entirely new class of cosmic signals, known as fast radio bursts. In English sources, they are referred to as fast radio bursts, or FRBs for short. The energy of one such burst equals the sun's output over decades of continuous work. To imagine this power, think of all the power plants in the world running non-stop for millions of years. All this energy is ejected from an unknown object in space in an instant, and all this happens in a time 1,000 times shorter than a human blink. Over 1,000 such flashes have been seen from all directions of the sky. Most of them come from other galaxies, billions of light years away from us. But the real mystery began only in 2012 with a strange discovery. One of the sources flared up again and again from the same point in the sky. Then another recurring source was found, displaying a distinct cycle of activity in its pattern. This source flares up with a regular period of about 16.5 days. He is active for about 5 days, silent for about 12, then wakes up again. Nature rarely creates strictly periodic radio signals of such cycle length. In the mountains of Guizhou, China, stands the world's largest radio telescope in a 500-meter diameter bowl. It was built in 2016 specifically to detect the faintest signals from space. One January night, a distant source began flashing on the telescope operator's screens. No one could believe how often flashes lit up the night over the Guizhou Mountains. In 214 days, over 11,000 separate radio bursts were recorded from there. At peak times, this source flashed 729 times an hour. This is more than all previous similar outbreaks of humanity combined throughout history. The main hypothesis, that these are magnetar flares, cannot withstand such an energy load. The magnetar model requires energy that a single neutron star simply doesn't have. The source of these signals remains unexplained by any complete physical model. What seems more alarming to you? A single signal from nowhere, or a strict rhythm of 16 days? Regularity in space raises more questions than a random flash that happens just once. Nature can create rhythms, but usually not so distinct across 500 million light years. All three previous signals came in the form of radio waves. The next mystery doesn't sound, it fades away. In 2015, astronomer Tabitha Boyajian was studying data from the Kepler Space Telescope. Boyajian was a regular grad student at Louisiana State University with typical research on exoplanets. The Kepler Space Telescope found planets by looking for brief dips in starlight. When a planet passes in front of a star, its brightness drops by less than 1%. For example, our Jupiter on our Sun causes only about a 1% dimming. Among thousands of ordinary stars, Boyan noticed one behaving completely abnormally. The star was catalogued by Kepler with a long service number, but it was simply called Tabby. It was named after Boyan herself, who was the first to notice the strangeness of this object. Today, the name of this star is known even to school kids who never studied astronomy. It dimmed not by fractions of a percent, but by 22% brightness. 22% feels as if a massive, solid wall is standing right in front of a star. No known planet is capable of blocking out such a large proportion of a star's light. The dark spots appeared irregularly, without a clear pattern or distinct geometric shape to the gaps. The scientific community seriously discussed the hypothesis of an alien megastructure around a star. The name for such a structure was coined in the mid-20th century, Dyson spheres. A Dyson sphere is a massive artificial construct around a star, collecting all its energy. The idea seemed crazy, but other explanations didn't add up either. Thousands raised over $100,000 for additional telescope observations. Scientist Jason Wright seriously and scientifically examined the megastructure hypothesis. Further observations showed that the dimming is stronger in ultraviolet than in infrared rays. This indicates dust, because a solid object would block all rays equally. This might be dust from a shattered exomoon, torn apart by its planet's tidal forces. The moon disintegrated, its icy and rocky material stretched into an orbit around the star. But science has not yet fully explained why the dust is so unevenly spread, and why the star keeps dimming by a fraction of a percent for decades is also unclear. The source of this strangeness still has no complete and consistent explanation in science. If the previous riddle was about a single star, the last one is about the entire known universe. In 2004, an American space satellite completed a long-term survey of the relic sky. This satellite measured the temperature of the oldest light from the universe's first moments. Light comes to us from an event that followed the Big Bang across all space. It is about 13,800,000,000 years old and nearly uniform everywhere. Its temperature fluctuations are tiny, about 1/100% across the sky. And in this flat picture, the satellite found one huge anomaly in the entire sky. In the Eridanus constellation, there was a spot with below normal temperature. If we depict the entire sky as a bright, colorful heat map, this spot appears as a dark void. All the other points in the sky shine roughly the same, like a uniform shimmering surface. And only in one place, in Eridanus, is there a huge cold bubble with no apparent cause. The size of this spot is about 5 degrees of angular sky, which is huge for a relic. In 2013, the European space satellite Planck confirmed the existence of this anomaly. No cosmologist could understand how such a cold spot appeared in the relic. The standard model of the universe, our main theory, doesn't predict anomalies of this scale. Then astronomers proposed a bold idea, a hypothesis of a giant void in the path of light. If light encountered a region almost devoid of galaxies, it would lose a little energy. In 2015, this void was indeed found in the correct direction of the sky. Its expanse is staggering, 1,800,000,000 light-years in diameter. To put that size into perspective, our Milky Way galaxy is 100,000 light-years across. The cold spot is almost 18,000 times larger than our home galaxy in diameter. This is a region of space that could fit about 2,000 such galaxies in a row. If a light beam traveled through this emptiness, it would take hundreds of millions of years. But even this monstrous void only explains about 20% of the spot anomaly. The remaining 80% of the cold spot remain unexplained by modern physics. Some scientists seriously discuss the idea of a collision with another parallel universe. So the spot could be a print of another reality, once pressed against ours. It sounds like science fiction, but this idea is published in peer-reviewed journals. The source of this cosmic hole is still not explained by any complete model. This is usually where debates start in the comments, and that's perfectly normal. One group of viewers believes that nature will eventually explain all these signals. Others think a voice of reason already exists among them, one we haven't recognized yet. Write in the comments which camp you feel closer to and why you chose it. Radio astronomy as a science has existed for just under 100 years since it began. The systematic search for intelligent signals began in the 1960s of the last century, and in this brief time by the universe's standards, we've heard things we can't grasp. A signal exactly 72 seconds long from the distant constellation Sagittarius. A signal from the void, where there isn't a single star for 1,000 light-years. Thousands of short bursts whose sources violate the energy law of even the most powerful neutron star. The star whose dimming was discussed for a year as a possible alien megastructure in our skies. An anomaly appeared in the sky, stretching 1.5 billion light-years deep. Perhaps the sources of all these signals will one day find a natural explanation in science, or perhaps not, and reality will turn out to be much stranger than it seems today. Perhaps in 100 years, scientists will smile at our naive hypotheses of today.
Maybe in 100 years, one of these signals will be the first real contact with other minds. Between these two possibilities lies the entire true science of space and our role in it.
We do not yet know this, and this very uncertainty makes our era unique in the history of mankind. Perhaps we have just turned on the first receivers and heard the very first word of the answer. A word in a language that we haven't even begun to seriously decipher yet. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine one of these signals flying through dark space to Earth. It flies for millions of years and may reach the receiver, maybe even in our lifetime. The most troubling thing isn't that we don't understand the source yet. The most alarming thing is that the universe is speaking, and we've only just begun to listen. Which of these 5 riddles resonated with you the most? And why that one? Those who've heard the cosmos pause will always seek its source.